happening? Massive discounts, surging repossessions, and dealers on the brink. Are we witnessing the ultimate car market crash of 2025? Across the United States, dealership lots are overflowing with vehicles, trucks, sedans, and SUVs, sitting unsold for months. Manufacturers are slashing production, repossession rates are soaring, and car owners are drowning in debt. This isn't just another market dip, it's a crisis that's sending shockwaves through the entire auto industry. What's causing this meltdown? How will it impact your car's value? And what steps should you take right now to protect yourself? Let's dive into the numbers and the stories behind this shocking turn of events. What's happening? In bustling dealership lots across the United States, a curious sight is becoming all too common. Rows upon rows of shiny, unsold vehicles sitting under the sun collecting dust. It's a stark image that raises a daunting question. What's happening to the car market? These aren't obscure brands or outdated models. We're talking about America's best-selling pickup trucks, luxury sedans, and family-friendly SUVs. Yet they remain untouched, waiting for buyers who never come. The situation is particularly dire for brands like Ford, Ram, and Toyota. Once symbols of reliability and success, their flagship models now languish on lots for over 200 days, a duration unheard of just a few years ago. For many dealerships, the issue isn't just an overstock problem, it's a crisis of epic proportions. As inventory piles up, so do costs. Each vehicle sitting unsold represents mounting losses in the form of flooring fees, a sort of interest dealerships pay to keep unsold cars on the lot. The ripple effects of this crisis are profound. Dealerships are scrambling to slash prices, offering discounts of $10,000 or more off the sticker price, and yet customers remain hesitant. For buyers, this may sound like an opportunity, but for the industry, it's a glaring red flag. So how did we get here? It's not just a matter of oversupply. The roots of this issue run deep, touching everything from inflated manufacturing costs to shifting consumer priorities. And as we delve deeper, the picture only becomes more alarming. The data doesn't lie. If there's one thing that paints a clearer picture than unsold inventory, it's the cold, hard data. Let's start with some of the most shocking figures. Negative equity, a term that describes owing more on your car loan than the vehicle's current value, is now at a national average of $7,200. Just a few months ago, it was $6,600. Even more troubling is the fact that 1 in 5 auto loan holders owes over $10,000 more than their car is worth. This isn't just a financial inconvenience, it's a trap. When trade-in values plummet and monthly payments soar, consumers find themselves locked into loans with no viable escape. The numbers only get worse from here. Auto loan debt is at an all-time high, with the average monthly payment for a new vehicle exceeding $760. For some, it's over $1,000, figures that rival mortgage payments in many parts of the country. Repossessions are skyrocketing too. Compared to last year, rates have increased by 23% as more Americans struggle to keep up with payments. This cascade of financial stress is reshaping the market, leaving dealerships and consumers alike grappling with the fallout. But what's driving this financial chaos? To answer that, we need to explore the decisions made at the top, decisions that have left manufacturers and dealerships scrambling to adapt. Where did it all go wrong? The roots of the car market crash can be traced back to a series of compound issues. First and foremost is the runaway inflation of vehicle prices. Since 2019, manufacturers suggested retail prices have risen by a staggering 42%. And it's not just inflation, much of this spike comes from automakers packing vehicles with high-end features and charging a premium for them. Consider the Toyota Tundra, once a reliable workhorse for the everyday buyer. Today, base models are priced over $60,000, while fully loaded versions approach $75,000. The story is similar for Ram trucks, Ford pickups, and even compact cars like the Toyota Corolla. Adding fuel to the fire are sky-high interest rates. A typical loan for a new car now averages 7.2%, while used cars hover around 11.4%. These rates make financing an already overpriced vehicle an even harder pill to swallow. And let's not forget about the supply chain. Automakers are still reeling from pandemic-era disruptions, leading to inconsistent production and higher costs. In a desperate bid to cut expenses, many brands have outsourced production overseas, sacrificing the Made in America appeal that once drew loyal buyers. All of this points to a market where buyers feel alienated and sellers feel trapped. But the damage doesn't end here. For dealerships, the challenges are stacking up, threatening to reshape the way cars are bought and sold forever. The impact on dealers and buyers. For dealerships, the current market conditions are nothing short of a nightmare. Every unsold car represents a ticking financial time bomb. Flooring costs, essentially interest fees on unsold inventory, compound month after month, squeezing already thin profit margins. Some dealers are resorting to drastic measures to stay afloat, offering discounts of up to $15,000 off manufacturers' suggested retail prices, and slashing interest rates to near 0% are becoming the norm. Yet these measures barely scratch the surface of the problem. For buyers, the impact is equally jarring. Those looking to trade in their vehicles are finding that their cars are worth significantly less than they expected. The depreciation curve has steepened, with some vehicles losing 25 to 35% of their value within the first 6 months of ownership. The bottom line is clear: whether you're selling cars or buying them, the rules of the game have changed, and unless something gives, the repercussions will only grow more severe. The rise of repossessions. As the car market struggles to stabilize, one alarming trend is emerging. Repossessions are on the rise, and they're climbing at an unprecedented rate. Compared to the previous year, the number of vehicles being repossessed has surged by 23%. This isn't just a statistic, it's a stark reality for thousands of Americans who are losing their cars and trucks due to unaffordable payments. Auto loans, once manageable for many households, have become a significant financial burden, with the average new vehicle loan now costing over $760 a month and interest rates skyrocketing. It's no wonder repossession rates are reaching new heights. What's even more shocking is the demographic affected. Repossessions are no longer limited to subprime borrowers with lower credit scores. Increasingly, middle-class families with stable incomes are finding themselves unable to keep up with the rising costs of auto ownership. The fallout is devastating. For families, losing a vehicle often means losing access to work, school, and essential services. For lenders and dealerships, it means an influx of used cars flooding auction lots, further driving down the value of trade-ins and used inventory. This vicious cycle is exacerbating an already fragile market, leaving both consumers and businesses in a precarious position. The crisis of overproduction. While repossessions highlight the struggles of individual buyers, overproduction reveals a systemic issue within the automotive industry. Across the United States, dealership lots are filled to capacity with unsold vehicles. Ram trucks, Ford pickups, and Toyota Tundras, once hot-ticket items, now sit idle for over 200 days. Overproduction is not just a logistical headache, it's a financial nightmare. Every unsold vehicle represents lost revenue for manufacturers and mounting costs for dealerships. Dealers pay what's known as flooring costs, interest fees on unsold inventory, which can quickly add up to thousands of dollars per car. But why are so many vehicles sitting unsold? One reason is the disconnect between automakers and consumers. For years, manufacturers focused on producing high-margin, high-spec vehicles loaded with luxury features. While these cars and trucks promise greater profits per unit, their sky-high prices have alienated a significant portion of the market. The pandemic-era production shortages also play a role. During those years, demand outstripped supply, leading to inflated prices and reduced inventory. Now the pendulum has swung the other way. Production levels have rebounded, but consumer demand has not kept pace, leaving dealerships with more inventory than they can handle. For buyers, this overproduction could mean more significant discounts in the short term. However, the long-term implications, such as reduced model variety and potential factory closures, pose serious questions about the future of the industry. The insurance and interest rate squeeze. Even as dealerships grapple with overproduction and repossessions, another factor is making life harder for buyers: the skyrocketing cost of insurance and interest rates. Over the past 2.5 years, car insurance premiums have doubled nationwide. In some states, annual increases of 50 to 60% are becoming the norm. The reasons for this surge are complex. Rising repair costs, an increase in severe weather events, and higher claims payouts are all contributing factors. But for consumers, the result is the same. Owning a vehicle has become significantly more expensive, regardless of the make or model. At the same time, interest rates on auto loans remain at near record highs. A loan for a new vehicle now averages 7.2%, while used car loans hover around 11.4%. For buyers, this translates to hundreds or even thousands of extra dollars in interest over the life of a loan. The combination of higher insurance premiums and steep interest rates is a double-edged sword. It makes owning a car more expensive for those who already have one and discourages potential buyers from entering the market. As a result, dealerships are finding it increasingly difficult to move inventory, even with substantial discounts. The decline of used car values. For years, used cars were a haven for budget-conscious buyers. But today, even that market is feeling the strain. Wholesale values, the prices dealerships pay at auction for used vehicles, have dropped by 18% in just one quarter. This decline is a symptom of the broader market crash. As new car prices become unattainable for many, demand for used vehicles has surged, driving up prices. But now, with inventory levels at record highs and discounts on new models increasing, the appeal of used cars is waning. The result? A steep drop in trade-in values and resale prices. Vehicles that were once considered sound investments now lose 25 to 35% of their value within 6 months of purchase. For buyers, this means less equity in their vehicles and more difficulty trading up when the time comes. For dealerships, the decline in used car values is a double-edged sword. On one hand, lower wholesale prices make it easier to stock inventory. On the other hand, the plummeting value of trade-ins makes it harder to close deals with buyers who still owe thousands on their current loans. This shift is reshaping the used car market in ways that will be felt for years to come. Whether you're buying, selling, or trading in a vehicle, the rules of the game are changing, and not in favor of the average consumer. The Lan Trap. For many car buyers, the dream of owning a new vehicle has turned into a financial nightmare. Negative equity, when a car owner owes more on their loan than the vehicle's current value, has become a widespread issue. Today, the national average for negative equity stands at $7,200, a significant increase from $6,600 just a few months ago. Even more alarming is that 1 in 5 auto loan borrowers owes $10,000 or more than their vehicle is worth. This staggering figure is a direct result of inflated prices during the pandemic, high interest loans, and the steep depreciation rates of newer models. Negative equity puts consumers in a bind. For those looking to trade in their vehicle, the gap between what they owe and the trade-in value can make upgrading nearly impossible. And for those facing repossession, the consequences are even graver. They lose their vehicle but still owe thousands of dollars to the lender. This cycle of debt is eroding consumer confidence in the auto market. Buyers who once trusted the value of their purchases are now questioning whether owning a vehicle is worth the financial risk. The impact is felt not just in households but across the industry, as hesitant buyers create a ripple effect that deepens the market's instability. Luxury features versus affordability. The car market's obsession with luxury features has created a paradox. While vehicles are more advanced than ever, they're also less accessible to the average buyer. High-end trims, advanced technology, and premium materials have driven up the prices of even mid-range models, leaving many consumers priced out of the market. Consider this: the once affordable Toyota Tundra now comes with price tags exceeding $70,000 for higher trims. Similarly, the Ford Bronco, once heralded as a rugged, accessible SUV, is now often listed at $80,000 or more. Even the so-called budget-friendly options like the Toyota Tacoma or Nissan Frontier regularly surpass $50,000. This pricing strategy might have worked during the pandemic when demand was high and supply was low, but in today's market where inventory is abundant and buyers are cautious, it's proving unsustainable. Many dealerships are resorting to massive discounts, up to $12,000 off, to move high-priced inventory. However, these discounts come with a catch. They devalue trade-ins and used vehicles, leaving consumers with fewer options and less equity. For buyers, the choice becomes clear: stretch their budget for a new vehicle or settle for a used one with limited savings. Neither option is particularly appealing, further dampening demand and exacerbating the market struggles. The role of insurance and interest rates. High insurance premiums and soaring interest rates have added yet another layer of complexity for buyers. Over the past 2 years, insurance costs have doubled nationwide, with year-over-year increases as high as 60% in some states. These hikes are driven by factors like rising repair costs, increased claims, and a higher frequency of severe weather events. At the same time, interest rates on auto loans remain stubbornly high. New vehicle loans now average 7.2%, while used car loans hover around 11.4%. For buyers, this means hundreds or even thousands of dollars in additional costs over the life of a loan. These financial pressures are creating a perfect storm for the average consumer. For many, the monthly cost of owning a vehicle, including the loan payment, insurance, and maintenance, has become unaffordable. As a result, buyers are either delaying their purchases or opting for cheaper, less desirable options. This shift in consumer behavior is reshaping the market. Dealerships are finding it harder to sell high-margin vehicles, while manufacturers are struggling to justify their pricing strategies. In the long run, the industry may be forced to reevaluate reevaluate its approach, focusing more on affordability and value to win back buyers. The emotional toll? Beyond the financial implications, the current car market crisis is taking a toll on consumer confidence. For decades, owning a car was a symbol of independence, freedom, and success. But today, it's increasingly seen as a financial burden. Many buyers feel betrayed by the industry. They remember a time when cars were affordable, reliable investments that held their value over time. Now they're faced with vehicles that depreciate rapidly, cost more than ever, and come with monthly payments that rival mortgages. This disillusionment is leading to a shift in priorities. Instead of seeking out the latest models with cutting-edge features, many consumers are prioritizing practicality, sustainability, and long-term value. They're opting for fuel-efficient vehicles, smaller cars, or even alternative modes of transportation like bicycles and public transit. For the industry, this shift represents both a challenge and an opportunity. Brands that can adapt to these changing preferences stand to gain a loyal customer base, but those that cling to outdated strategies risk losing relevance in a market that's evolving faster than ever. Can manufacturers adapt to the new reality? The automotive industry is at a crossroads, facing a critical decision: evolve or risk irrelevance. While the pandemic-era shortages allowed manufacturers to inflate prices and focus on high-margin vehicles, the current market demands a starkly different strategy. Dealership lots overflowing with unsold inventory have made it clear that the old playbook no longer works. To survive, automakers must prioritize accessibility and affordability without sacrificing quality or innovation. This means scaling back on excessive luxury trims and instead offering models tailored to the needs of average consumers. Compact, fuel-efficient cars and reasonably priced trucks are no longer just desirable, they're essential. Some manufacturers are already pivoting. Toyota, for example, is focusing on hybrid and fuel-efficient options like the Corolla Hybrid and Camry Hybrid, which align with shifting consumer preferences. Similarly, Ford has introduced the Maverick, a compact pickup that has captured attention for its affordability and practicality. However, these isolated examples are not enough to reverse the industry's trajectory. A broader commitment to affordability, sustainability, and practicality must become the norm, not the exception. If automakers fail to act swiftly, they risk alienating a generation of buyers already disillusioned by soaring costs and mounting debt. The role of government policies and incentives. Government intervention could also play a pivotal role in reshaping the car market. In the past, initiatives like Cash for Clunkers programs and federal tax credits for electric vehicles have helped stimulate demand and guide the industry toward innovation. These programs provided temporary relief during economic downturns and incentivized consumers to embrace newer, cleaner technologies, giving automakers the breathing room needed to recalibrate their strategies. Looking ahead, similar measures could help alleviate the pressures facing both manufacturers and consumers. Tax incentives for affordable electric vehicles could make sustainable transportation accessible to more people, especially as the shift toward electrification accelerates. Subsidies for domestic production could help manufacturers reduce costs while maintaining American jobs, ensuring a stronger, more self-reliant supply chain. Programs focused on infrastructure development, like expanding charging networks, could also play a critical role in easing consumer concerns about adopting electric vehicles. However, not all policies have been beneficial. Tariffs on imported materials have driven up manufacturing costs, forcing companies to pass those expenses onto buyers. Similarly, stricter environmental regulations, while necessary for sustainability, have added complexity and expense to vehicle production, creating hurdles for manufacturers already struggling with profitability. Poorly implemented policies risk alienating both consumers and automakers, leaving the market in further disarray. Striking the right balance will be key. Policies that encourage innovation and affordability without placing undue burdens on manufacturers or consumers could be the lifeline the industry needs. The question is whether governments and industry leaders are willing to work together to make it happen, or if competing interests will only deepen the challenges facing this critical sector. The outcome will likely define the car market for decades to come: a threat or an opportunity. As the traditional car market flounders, alternatives are gaining traction. Electric scooters, bicycles, and public transit are becoming increasingly viable options, especially in urban areas where congestion and parking limitations make car ownership less appealing. Ride-sharing services like Uber and Lyft offer a cost-effective alternative to owning a car, particularly for those who only need occasional transportation or want to avoid the rising costs of insurance, maintenance, and fuel. Meanwhile, electric vehicle startups like Rivian and Lucid Unsalted are challenging established automakers with innovative designs, sustainable technologies, and direct-to-consumer sales models that bypass the frustrations of traditional dealerships. Even Tesla, which has faced its own struggles with affordability and production delays, continues to dominate the electric vehicle market thanks to its strong brand, customer loyalty, and a network of superchargers that make owning an electric vehicle more practical. These alternatives are not just competition, they're a wake-up call. Traditional automakers must recognize that the days of assuming car ownership is a given are over. To remain relevant, they need to offer compelling reasons for consumers to choose their vehicles over these emerging options. This could mean emphasizing reliability, expanding warranty coverage, or integrating cutting-edge technology that genuinely improves the driving experience. Automakers might also need to rethink the traditional dealership model, which many consumers find outdated, frustrating, and poorly aligned with modern purchasing habits. The future of car ownership. The concept of car ownership itself is undergoing a transformation. For years, owning a car was seen as a rite of passage, a symbol of independence, and a practical necessity. But today, many consumers, especially younger generations, are questioning whether the benefits outweigh the costs. Subscription-based car services, which allow users to borrow a vehicle for a monthly fee, are gaining popularity. These services eliminate the long-term commitment of a traditional loan and include perks like maintenance and insurance. Similarly, car-sharing platforms let users rent vehicles on an as-needed basis, making ownership unnecessary for those who only drive occasionally. These shifts reflect broader societal trends. Urbanization, climate change, and economic uncertainty are all pushing people toward more flexible and sustainable transportation options. For automakers, this means rethinking their entire business model. Instead of focusing solely on selling cars, they may need to explore new revenue streams, such as subscription services, software updates, and partnerships with mobility providers. Can it be rekindled? For decades, cars were more than just a mode of transportation. They were a source of pride, identity, and freedom. Whether it was the rugged appeal of a Jeep, the sleek performance of a Dodge, or the workhorse reliability of a Ram, vehicles held a special place in the hearts of their owners. Today, much of that emotional connection has been lost. For many buyers, the high costs, complicated financing, and rapid depreciation have turned car ownership into a source of stress rather than joy. To reignite that connection, automakers need to go beyond features and price points. They need to tell compelling stories that resonate with their audience. A Jeep, for example, should evoke images of adventure and exploration, while a Dodge should embody raw power and performance. Ram trucks should stand as symbols of hard work and resilience. Marketing alone won't be enough. The vehicles themselves must live up to these ideals, offering genuine value and a driving experience that inspires loyalty. If automakers can achieve this, they may not only win back customers, but also reignite a love for cars that has been dimmed by years of industry missteps. The car market crash of 2025 is not just a headline, it's a reality that's reshaping how we think about transportation, affordability, and the role of vehicles in our lives. For consumers, it's a time to be cautious, informed, and strategic. The deals on the lot might look tempting, but understanding the broader market dynamics can help you make smarter decisions. For the industry, this crisis is a turning point. The automakers and dealerships that adapt to these changes, prioritize consumer needs, and embrace innovation will be the ones that survive and thrive. Those that cling to outdated strategies risk fading into irrelevance. Now, we want to hear from you. Have you noticed the impact of the car market crash in your area? Are you rethinking your approach to buying or owning a vehicle? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's start a conversation about where the industry is headed and how we as consumers can navigate these turbulent times.